Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. We are here to bring forward the voice of our heart, the voice of our soul, and it is through singing in which my next guest brings this forward and expresses her soul voice. Linda Lewellyn is a singing teacher, and she is here to share with us her inspiration in her own love of singing and a little lesson for all of us to expand our voice expression. Linda, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Lauren.
I want to start out by saying, in full disclosure, that Linda is my singing teacher. And through this experience, she's really helped me open up. And the opening up of my heart through singing brings me to tears most often every time, even right now as I want to say this. So it's a fascinating journey. So Linda, as we start off today, how did you come to fall in love with singing and recognize this soul voice?
It was around age 4 or 5. I think that I had seen the movie The Sound of Music, and all the singing that happened in there, made me kind of feel like, oh, that looks really fun. I'd like to do that. And I think I had also seen Cinderella, and that scene where the cartoon, all the cartoon animals in the forest come around and sit with her and she's singing. I don't know if anyone else remembers that, but the birds come and she's singing to them, and then a pair of little deer come and she's singing to them. I would go out into the woods and sit there and just sing around age 4 and 5, and I would imagine all the little forest animals coming up and listening. It was to soothe myself. My home was not very happy, wasn't a very happy home. So that was the way, as a very young girl, I made myself happy and found peace, and probably opened my little heart.
That is so sweet.
Thank
So
you.
here's this little girl, age 4 or 5, and the home life was not that great. How did you discover that singing brought you that joy?
I wasn't told to be quiet, but it was just, there was a lot of tension in the home. So I think we all were just naturally reacting to that by being fairly quiet. I do think the movies that I saw sparked my imagination in that way. And when I was in kindergarten, I was sitting in class and they said on the loudspeaker, we're going to have a talent show. And so I just as soon as class was over, I walked down to the principal's office and I said, I want to sign up for the talent show. And I was shy. In most other ways, I was a fairly shy little girl. But for some reason, so I signed up for the talent show. I went to the orchestra office and asked if the orchestra teacher would accompany me. She did. I had a little Swiss dirndl because my mother was Swiss, and I sang Do Re Mi from The Sound of Music in my little Swiss dirndl. And what I remember so distinctly was just being on stage, all the lights, and I just felt like I was loved. I felt a lot of love coming up to me from the audience. And when I was done, I remember the principal picked me up and took me off the stage, and everyone was clapping. And I was hooked, at that age. Singing meant love to me at that age.
Wow. Singing meant love to you. Singing is love. And I know that many listening really resonate with that. And we can even remember toning or singing in past lives, even all the way back to
Chanting,
Lemuria, chanting,
yeah, any use of voice.
any use of voice. So, you mentioned that you were a shy little girl. And here at age 4 or 5, you found this beautiful recipe for making yourself happy or soothing yourself.
Yes.
Have you considered that this was a talent from past lives or a past life?
It makes sense, to have had that kind of motivation at that age. It makes sense. I have thought of that. I haven't thought about it deeply, but it has crossed my mind. Yeah.
Well, beautiful. And that 4-year-old or 5-year-old is just the passion and that innate wisdom within you. And thank you for bringing it forward. So here you are now living this passion and working with clients and overcoming what some might think of a starving artist situation, right? This is your profession and it's based on your passion.
Right.
So what was that journey like along the way for you to really live this?
First I want to say, when I was a little girl, my sister tells me now, you didn't sing very well until you were about 14. You just thought you did. I always thought that was very interesting. I totally thought I did. But at 14, I started getting serious about it and listening to artists that I loved and imitating them. So I learned a lot by imitating as a teenager then too. But that's the power of believing that you can do it. I just didn't know any better. um, it's been an interesting life as a singer and a voice teacher. Um, yes, a lot of musicians that I know are not doing as well financially as some of the other people I know. It's in our culture, it's not a great way to make a living. It's very challenging. But teaching has helped with that quite a bit. A lot of musicians I know are teachers, and that gives us stability. I think if you are not a natural teacher, it's not going to be a good fit, and those people don't teach. But a lot of us just get extreme pleasure by passing the gift along. Um, I started teaching for both reasons, for financial reasons and because it was just so enjoyable to me. I wanted other people to feel that. And one of the things I have noticed most as a teacher is how many people think they can't sing when they can. So many people have some sort of, I don't know what it is in our society, in our culture, but they just believe they can't sing. And that's just a crying shame, because if you can talk, you can sing. We don't all have to sound like a singer that we love. We don't all need to sound like Aretha Franklin or Pavarotti. But Bob Dylan is a singer too, and he has a very unique sound. He doesn't sing extremely well, but it's the energy of him that comes through his voice and his message and what he's saying. So we all have that. It's really more how you use your voice than what your voice actually is. So a lot can be changed and learned, and the voice can become your friend. You really can change it and grow it and learn to love it.
Hmm. When I heard Bob Dylan sing on the radio, I said, if he can sing on the radio, why can't I?
Exactly. Yeah. Good point.
And so you bring up a good point. Many people feel that we can't sing. I hear that from so many. I'm not
So
a
do
singer.
I.
So
Yeah.
you've been teaching so many people for so long now. What is it that keeps people from thinking they can't sing? When you work with people, what do you see comes up as they find out that they actually can sing?
Oh, it's just such a joy when you find that you can. Um, it's freeing in so many more ways than just being about music and singing and songs. It's about your voice in as in someone who's speaking up for themselves, as in someone who's telling their truth. It's your voice. It's you communicating and expressing yourself. So it's huge. I remember once I had a woman who was an astrophysicist, and she talked in front of Congress. She was a very accomplished woman. And the first time she sang with me, she turned around and hugged me and started crying. It means so much to people. I had a gentleman once who was he was in his 60s. He was taking a class about all the things you've been afraid to do in your life. And at the end of this class, they had to do 2 or 3 things that they were the most afraid of. He chose jumping out of an airplane and singing. I couldn't believe, that I could not possibly jump out of an airplane, but it feels almost life and death to some people to expose themselves to be vulnerable in that way. I feel like our culture designates certain people to be artists. Certain famous, extremely talented people are singers, and the rest of us listen, and they emote for us. They express our emotions for us. That's wonderful. I love to listen to music. If I'm sad, I listen to sad music, Billie Holiday. It helps you flow through the emotions, helps the emotions flow through and out of you. But if you are taking responsibility for your own emotions and expressing them with your own voice, it's very, very powerful. So it's sort of a cultural thing. I mean, many, many years ago, everyone had a piano in their house and everyone sang and danced. That was their amusement in the evening. They didn't have TV or even radio or the interwebs. But now we've just completely segregated who's an artist and who isn't. And I think that's just also too bad. Many, many people I meet also have had an experience. My teacher in choir told me to just mouth the words. My best friend, when I was 10, told me I shouldn't sing. She had a beautiful voice. I don't sound good. My husband tells me I shouldn't sing in the car. My sister, people have had an experience where someone, I'm sure in an offhand way, usually younger in life, shut them down. And instead of listening to, I'm sure many, many positive things that happened that day, that one little negative thing about the voice just sticks in people's minds. And so many people, I think, are shut down from that. And so, my job is to just brush past that, maybe deal with it a little bit, put it aside. It's not true. If you have a voice to speak with, you can sing.
Yes, beautiful. We're going to do a little mini lesson with you and also talk about just toning, just the very beginning of toning and what that does to help us move through some of these emotions. And are you finding that this could be no matter what goes on in our life, if we're upset about something or we see something that doesn't look right or somebody does something to us, this actually is shifting our energy field. And you do something called chakra toning. So let's talk about toning and the power of toning.
I just love it. And it's easier for most people to conceptualize, easier than singing. If you're just, for example, humming is a great way to shift your energy. And almost no one has a thing about, oh, I can't hum. I shouldn't hum. No one should hear me hum. My hum is horrible. That doesn't happen. So humming is a great way. And it's also pretty quiet. So sometimes if I'm in line somewhere and getting anxious, if I'm in public, I might hum softly to myself to shift my energy. When I hum or chant or tone or sing, I can feel vibration. Like if I hum right now, I feel vibration in this part of my jawbone. I feel it on the bridge of my nose. If I go lower, I can feel my sternum vibrate. There's a literal vibration happening in our bodies. And it starts with the brain stem. The vagus nerve is activated by humming, singing, chanting, toning. And it literally vibrates the beginning of the vagus nerve in the brainstem. So you can feel that for yourself if you hum higher. If you hum lower, let's do that together. Let's start kind of low in the range we speak in, where most people are already comfortable because they're speaking there all the time. Put one hand on your sternum and one on the bridge of your nose or the jawbone right in front of your ear here. Go up and down and feel that vibration move higher and lower in your body. So just a deep breath. Let's do one that doesn't go quite so high for everybody. So at the bottom, I feel it here, and then it moves up. I can feel it at the top of my head because I have a lot of experience, and mindfulness around where I feel vibration in my body from singing and humming. But yeah, anyone can probably feel that. Just think about nothing else and feel the vibration move up and down. If you're in a dance club and you walk in the door and there's a bass just really thumping loud, which happens often in dance music because it makes you move your hips, you're going to feel that lower in your body. If you go to a symphony orchestra and there's a virtuoso violinist playing high notes, you're going to feel it higher in your body. So literally the vibration moves up and down in our bodies when we sing higher and lower.
Is that vibration then what helps flow the energy?
Well, everything vibrates. I'm sure everyone on your network knows. Everything vibrates, every cell and molecule in the world, in a rock, in the air, in our bodies. So music and sound and voice being a vibration clearly makes sense that if you vibrate, if your cells are vibrated by your voice or by sound or by a singing bowl, yes, that shifts the energy on a cellular level. Not only does the vagus nerve become activated, but that in turn gets us into our parasympathetic nervous system. So our heart rate will slow down, our breath will slow down, digest and, rest and digest. It's calming in a literal physical sense.
Yes, absolutely. So let's do a little chakra toning session.
Sure. I always set an intention before I tone or use my singing bowls or both. I want to activate and balance my chakras, and each one for itself to be in the perfect activation for me right now and in this day. You may not want to walk down the street with your root chakra wide open, for example. So that might not be safe for you energetically. So, different days and different circumstances, you may want different things. But I set that intention at first, and I really just I visualize colors the way that I do it. And there are many ways to do chakra toning. I visualize colors and the area that I'm chakra toning. Sometimes I'll bring in Reiki energy in my hands and hold my hands over the area, over the chakra. But basically the sound, Jonathan Goldman is a sound healer in Boulder, Colorado. And I have a certificate in sound healing from him. He always says that sound plus intention equals healing. And that's a great way to think of it. I set my intention and then I make sound and I let the universe do what it's going to do. We all have different notes that feel like our chakra. Like I start low. We'll start low in our ranges for the first chakra, and then get a little bit higher on each note. We're literally going higher, with the chakras up our body. And so we go up in pitch as well. My singing bowls, for example, are attuned. So that's a C. And from a generic standpoint, they've standardized and said first chakra is C, second is D, third is E, etc. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. But that doesn't actually resonate in my body. So for me, the first chakra is this guy. My voice doesn't go that low. So that would work for many people, but not most women actually with higher voices. So finding a pitch that kind of feels like your first chakra is a great way to start. Think low in your range, but doable. So a place that's probably as low as you're comfortable going. So you might just find a pitch that somewhat relates to your first chakra and from the way you feel about it. And the syllables that I use are first chakra eh, second om, third ah om, fourth ah, fifth e, sixth ahum, and seventh e. And the colors I use, first chakra red, second chakra orange, third yellow, fourth green with a little bit of pink added in, green and pink. This one, fifth is light blue, like a sky blue. Sixth is a deep blue purple. And seventh is a light violet. So you can visualize those colors. I always tell everyone, feel free to do your own thing as well. If you feel a different color on your third chakra, go for it. If you feel a different note from what I'm singing, go for it. Let's keep the same syllables so that there's some unity. And when I'm doing this with a group, it's great to have the syllables. The sound just really rings exponentially with a group. And it's been amazing to me how well it works on Zoom. It's just that the energy of sound really has carried across online wonderfully through this time of doing everything online. I'm just starting with a little bowl to get the room vibrating. So deep breath every time. Feel the expansiveness of a breath in, every part of your lungs expanding out. Let your posture allow that. Breathe low first. Sit or stand up tall. It's fine to lay down for this too. And try to let your jaw drop. Let there be some space in your throat and mouth so sound can resonate. Set your intention. Second chakra, orange and om. Third chakra yellow, ah om. Fourth, the heart. And ah, green. Fifth, ooh, light blue. Sixth is humming. And the color is like a deep indigo, purple blue. Seventh is crown chakra, E, a violet, really light violet. One more. Thank you. And if you feel something along the way, like, wow, my heart feels very powerful and open today, great. If you feel a little closed somewhere, wow, my third eye felt small. I didn't have much sound or much resonance happening there. Go back to it and do more there. When I'm doing private sessions with people for healing with chakra toning, we'll do that together. I'll have them slowly slide up and down. Do you feel a place? Sort of like when a Reiki practitioner is putting their hands over your body to find a place where the energy feels a little stuck or thicker. You can slide up and down with a hum or any vowel and just see, do I feel weak in an area or do I feel stuck in an area? And then you can just stay there. And when I'm doing it with the client, then I join them, and we just really make this wonderful, powerful sound to break it up. Sometimes I'll be dissonant with the note that they're singing as well, which I can show you with the bowl. I'm sure everyone knows the word dissonant. In music, it means two notes that don't go together, don't play together well. Two notes that push against each other. There's harmony and there's unison and there's dissonance in musical terms. So let me show you with the bowls. And the bowls can be a great tool too if you're home by yourself toning. You can tone with a bowl or with a set of bowls and you feel like there's another person there. It amplifies the same as another person would. And it's been fun on Zoom doing sessions during the pandemic because the bowl makes it feel like there's three of us. There's you, and there's me, and then there's the bowl. Unison means we're on the same note. That has a certain beautiful ring. I can sing the same note an octave lower and still call it a unison. I can sing a note that's harmonious, that's a harmony with that. Harmonies and unisons are calming and peaceful and bring things into balance. If you feel like you're stuck somewhere, though, you might want to push against the sound. Well, there's some really interesting sounds that happen live. I don't know if they carry over, but there's like a beat pattern that's formed when you're doing a dissonant note, and it just feels like it's breaking up stuck energy. So it's wonderful, and you know what a joyful way to work with your energy. There's so many ways, of course, but I just feel like music is easy and joyful. Your voice is a part of your body. Everywhere you go, it goes with you. There's nothing to pack up and put in the car. The voice is just a natural instrument that's part of your body. So why not learn more about it and use it to its fullest potential? It's more than just speaking. It's more than just singing. You know, it has so many healing benefits.
Yes, we've heard that the your own voice is the best healer, and very interesting. What I noticed there is there's a softness, there's a gentleness to freeing the voice in that sense where, you
Yeah.
know, even myself, I would want to just belt it out. But no, it's very gentle. It's being very present and being very soft and not forcing.
Yes, definitely. And it's often said for toning, start very soft. You know, just it, and it's maybe soft doesn't feel natural to you and feels really difficult. If so, be medium or be louder. Do the volume that is and the notes that feel most comfortable to you when you're starting out. You know, um, but soft has a lot of power. I think soft with sound and vibration and voice has a lot of power. Um, you know, sound and voice too connects people to each other. It connects communities. You know, if you think about the way chant was used in Native American cultures and many, many cultures and religions in the world, voice and chant are used to create community. So it also you can just feel yourself. Choral groups get so close. If you sing with two other people and you're harmonizing all the time, it's just it's just like those people become your best friend. Your voice is it's just there's so many benefits, but one of them is definitely connection. And you connect, you know that if you tell someone your truth, if you have a friend and you have a conflict with them and you hold it back, you don't use your voice in the speaking or speaking truth sense, you're going to have a wall between you. But if you speak out and you just gently and beautifully say, this hurt my feelings, or I'd like to talk about this, you're connecting because you're using your voice. So it's so much more than just singing. Um,
Yeah.
and also find over time that people become more confident. This was so true for me. I was shy and extreme, horribly self conscious physically. But for some reason, I had this gift of singing. It increases your overall confidence. You know, when you do speak your truth, you know that you do become more conscious and more confident. But singing seems to bring that about in many more aspects of your life. Maybe, you know, who knows, you might end up singing in front of people if that's what you want to do. And maybe you have never imagined that could be possible. But if you use your voice and you become friends with it and you learn about it and work it regularly. There's all sorts of possibilities. You could sing at a senior center and watch all those people, light up. You could sing at your church or temple. You could sing your baby to sleep. It's just, I'm into it. And there's just so many wonderful things that come from using your voice and so
Yes.
many ways to use it. And I want everyone to know that they can and to learn how.
Well, I'm going to have you do another exercise for us here in a moment. But yes, I even see how people can use this in their healing practices. We have many healers in sessions. We could use it even in yoga,
Oh,
right? It could be
sure.
incorporated into the shavasana in yoga or the integration. It's just really beautiful, and it's so unique that there's so many different ways for all of us to speak our voice and to share our voice. And what I want to share is
True.
a personal story here on my own journey with you. Being a student of yours, you've helped me find that voice. So, just sharing a brief story, I thought I was going to grow up and be a singer. I loved singing. I would sing to my bunny rabbit every night. And um, when I got that tape recorder, I heard myself singing and I was shocked. I think everyone goes through that the first time we hear our voice. And then I went into journalism and here I am today because I it's more of still what I love. But in the lessons with you, here's my point. I uncovered something that when I sang in my mid-range with you, I would start crying. And one was something with the words of what I was singing just moved my heart so deeply. But it was also something more than that. It was actually a past life memory. And it was through toning in my own private space where it was revealed that I remembered myself on the shores of Lemuria singing and toning, and that it was my judgment of myself that that allowed me to judge myself, or I let others judge myself. And so working through that was really eye opening for me to just realize my own voice and not having to force things. And I just wanted to share that because it was really profound. And this is what we learn when we explore the voice and freeing the voice. You shared with me, a way to use scales, musical scales, and move through all of the ranges. And what I learned was there's a softness in that range, and that's where we really have to stay soft and not force. So, yeah.
Yeah, forcing never works, right? Doesn't mean that power and loudness won't happen or isn't good. Of course, it's wonderful. But yeah, you can't push and force that to happen. The story that's coming to my mind is a little off from that, but I had a 77-year-old woman come into lessons riding the bus because she didn't drive anymore, and she had an oxygen tank. And 3 months later, she walked in without the oxygen tank. And her doctor had discussed it, and nothing had changed except she was toning and singing and doing our lessons. And that was probably the happiest day. That was one of the happiest days of my singing life. I was just so thrilled that could happen. I mean, it's metaphysical and it's physical. And a lot of people say that sound and music, they're the connection between the physical world and the spirit world. And it's kind of true. I mean, it's an intangible thing, but it is a thing.
Yes. And so, one of the things that helped me, you have your routine, you have lessons that you teach, and no matter where we are in our day as we show up, when we start doing this work, it always brings us into this sense of more expansion with the breath, calming the nervous system.
Yes.
And it's the parasympathetic nervous system that we are engaging. So it's really beautiful. We want to do a short experience for folks at home. You do, even the humming and the horse lips, let's call it horse lips exercises,
That
all of
works too.
that, like a little mini session, like when we're starting, that would be perfect.
The
And
little
then
warm
maybe,
ups.
and some scales, the warm ups, yes.
Yeah, and to addressing what you were saying about yourself, I just hear that so often. And I think if you are harshly judgmental of yourself and it didn't come from another person, it's in our culture to be judgmental about art. And don't you think? To be judgmental about dancing and to make fun of someone, it's a cultural norm, unfortunately. So I'm really thrilled that you are seeing past that. And it's so common to have had that, kibosh put on your vocal self expression, even if you put it there yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So when we're starting a lesson or a toning session, first you just want to get into your body awareness. The singing itself will help us get out of our brains and the rest of the day, all the things we're doing and thinking about. But find a really great seating posture or standing. Standing's great for singing too. When I tone, I'm always sitting because I do it with my eyes closed. But first, just to feel and integrate your posture and your breath. So, having a long, tall spine, but not being stiff with it, being loose, feeling open in the shoulders and sternum and chest, shoulders relaxed. Take a low, deep breath right down to the bottom of your lungs. I feel the bottom of your lungs expand. So maybe around your lower back, the muscles are expanding for that to happen. 2 low, deep breaths. Two breaths that you imagine coming in and filling around your belly, your upper belly. Expanding into the back, every single direction possible. And then breathe into your sternum, your upper lungs. And feel it expand now from the bottom to the top. Just taking 30 seconds for deep breathing can shift your energy in itself. I feel that when I'm at the top of a breath, I feel more hopeful. I feel the expansiveness through my whole being with that. So breathe low and deep, slow breath in, slow breath out is just so helpful. When we're singing, it's almost always a slow breath out, so it's automatically. So feel that. Try to take a slow breath. Try to breathe right now through your nose only, just for a moment. Release through your nose only. Yeah, slow that breath down. I came up with a 2-part breath that I've found is kind of a fun healing thing. If you breathe, when you're singing, you can rarely breathe through your nose only. Nose breathing is incredibly helpful because the air is going through your sinuses and your nose is doing its job. It's warming and filtering and moisturizing the air before it hits your vocal cords. So it's wonderful. But in a song, I don't usually have time for that. So do a breath that's about 2/3 through your nose only. And then take the last third through an open mouth. So 2/3 nose, 1/3 nose and mouth, like this. Just make a voiced sigh on the out breath. You can hear and feel that lets some stress and frustration go in itself. Good. So we'll use that in an exercise context in a minute. But right now, use it to take a deep breath. Horsey lips is a great name for it. I call it lip trills, and that's lip trills without my voice involved at all. I'm just syncing up my breath and my posture. And releasing through a little flappage of the lips. This will really relax your face muscles and get you ready for some more work with voice. And so one more on this one, I want you to feel as if you're pulling in and up, like you're pulling your belly button in and you're squeezing all the air out of your lungs at the end. So just go until you can't go anymore. Get every last bit of stale air out of your lungs so we bring in full fresh air. You can further work out your breathing muscles by pushing all the air out at once, about halfway through. Push it all out with your breathing muscles. It feels like you're pulling in and up at the core. So good. Now do lip trills with your voice added in and start to warm your range up. Most of us are comfortable in the lower range where we speak, and the higher range is a bit more mysterious. Not everyone. Some people tend toward the higher naturally, but most of us, we're just going to get a tiny bit higher each time so that we have time to adjust to that. All the air out. Big breath in. And at your own comfort level as to how high you go. All the air out. I'm going to go higher, and if you are uncomfortable, just drop out. It's kind of helpful to use the arms. They help the voice go higher. So let's do 3 more, and I'll go as high as I'm comfortable going. By the third, you go as high as you're comfortable going. Good. I can see Loren doing it. It's perfect. It might be that you have a big break in the middle of that range and it kind of drops out for a moment. That's fine. That's its own thing. Kind of an advanced study piece. But go as high as you're comfortable going. Don't push beyond that. But you might find there's a lot more range than you have ever had a need to use before. So that's a great warm-up. Lip trills without the voice and then lip trills with voice. And another thing we do in all of the voice work is just we increase the strength of our breathing muscles and we relate to them in a much deeper way. So just pant for a moment. Find your belly button with your hands. Go up about 2 inches. This kind of center of upper belly for me. Everyone's body's different. But pant and feel the motion of that. Push in a little bit. obviously our breathing muscles work all the time, so they're strong, but they're generally involuntary. What we're going to do as singers and toners is make them voluntary. So feel that again. The strength of your breathing, it's a bounce in and out, like a little trampoline. You can probably see my belly bouncing a little bit. So we'll put that in the context of exercises like ha, 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 ha. When you pull in, you put power behind the breath. Singing and toning, using your voice is all a breath out. So if you have really strong breathing muscles, you relate to them, you have a lot more power at hand, available to sing with or tone with. So feel for a moment that if you just hang on a note and you pull that in slowly, your voice gets louder. So it's wonderful to just start doing breathing exercises, all sorts of breathing exercises. I do panting breaths, 5 bounces. And on the 5th one, I pushing all the air out again. So ha, 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 ha. You can just do any sort of, if you play any sort of an instrument, you can just play a chord and do that along. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. And if you have a teacher, you can do that too. Ha, 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 ha. But if you're working by yourself and you don't have an instrument, no problem. Just go higher and lower. Do every vowel you can think of. Do ho, 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 he, hoo, 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 hoo. Just work those breathing muscles so they become stronger, and that gives you a lot of power as a usage of your voice, powerful usage of your voice. Another really important piece is how open is my mouth. This is the most common thing I see with people starting lessons who may think that they don't sound good. Their reaction, of course, is to chomp down and to not really let the sound out. It's guaranteeing, however, that they're not going to sound good because a really closed, tight mouth won't produce a resonant, beautiful tone. So that idea of it's not what my voice is, but how I use it. This shows a good example of that. If I sing different energy and different feel than so just the simple act of dropping my jaw about an inch, half an inch even, makes a really big difference. So many things about singing and toning are similar to speaking, but they're exaggerated. I mean, we're breathing all the time, of course, but we exaggerate our breath for use of voice, and we open our mouths all the time, but we exaggerate the opening a bit to use our voices in that way. You can just hear it creates a resonance chamber, kind of like in a gymnasium when you clap and the sound reverberates. That's the shape of the room and the material the room is made out of. My ukulele makes a certain resonance because of the shape of it and the material it's made out of. So your body is a resonance chamber as well, but you gotta open the chamber and let the sound resonate. So if I were just practicing a little jaw drop, maybe your hand will help out. You could do this. You could do this. Do a small one again. What does that feel like? Oh, well, that's not as much fun. Let's open it. open an O. Oh, yeah, whatever the shape is, the vowel shape, the jaw drops. Oh, and that creates resonance. Let's do E. 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 Gotta give it room to resonate. Let's do ooh. Ooh. One more. Big breath. Ooh. Good. So some of the first things to focus on: posture and breath, helping each other. If your posture is open, you can get a good breath. If your posture is off, you're inhibiting your breath. So posture and breath working together, and then just dropping the jaw. It's a really big deal for a lot of people. It's the thing I most often see not happening. It makes such a big difference, and it's not that hard to do. I think it's a psychological, it's once you open it, people are going to hear you, and that's scary. But if you don't open it, it'll never sound good because it'll always have tension. The energy of it will be tension because it literally is coming from a tense place. So drop that jaw, create a little cave, a little resonance chamber inside of your body, and get a good breath behind it, and just let the sound out. Feel like air comes in, air goes out. It's that simple in some ways.
Thank you so much for that. Just the breathing and the release of stress from the lip trills was
Yeah.
amazing. And I'm fascinated every time I do it, every time. It just wakes up my face and it makes my face itchy. And that right there is really, yeah, that there's something going on there. There's energy there, there's an aliveness there.
Yes. It's
And
vibrating.
it's vibrating. I love what you said here. And this is just a little taste of a regular routine that actually helps the voice, and it helps to express the voice in a very gentle way, a non-forceful way. Isn't it interesting that you see so many wanting to keep the voice shut, the mouth shut? And I remember in my own experience with you, I realized, wow, I don't want to be seen. And that was very interesting. So these singing lessons, it's so much deeper than just lessons of the voice. It really is deep, deep inner work. And I want to just share one more time that in my personal experience with you, as you've helped me open up my voice, I love to sing, but I too have my family that says, stop singing.
Yes.
But now they don't. Both my husband and my son have said,
Sweet.
you're singing better.
Oh, that is the biggest compliment ever.
Well, I'm not ready to sing here on this venue. You do hold classes, you hold group sessions, and you teach people how to really awaken this voice, this beautiful voice within us, and to own it and to claim it. And this is your work. Share with us how people can work with you.
Well, the steps, I started this wanting to be a voice teacher, and I didn't intend for it to become so much more deep and metaphysical, but this is my take on singing, and that's just how it has turned out. And I love that. I just love the whole metaphysical and aspect of it. But it just, it just developed naturally. And the steps that I use to help others open that up and start singing and loving their own voices, those steps are fairly simple, like we were just doing. Well, we're just balancing here. We're just strengthening some muscles. We're just dropping our jaw. It's simple things that everyone can do. And if you do them, it ends up being much more than simple. But I feel that groups are a great place to start because so many of us are a bit shy, you know, And if you're in a group that's live and will be on Zoom, um, you're not going to be on the spot at all. So it'll be a very gentle introduction. The offering that I'm doing, Singing Simply from the Soul, Free Your Natural Voice. It starts, the first day will be called Inspire, Resonate, and Clarify. And it'll be simple steps to, like we were just doing, work with the breath, get the breath flowing, strengthen the breath, inspire. Resonate, we're going to shape in a way that creates a beautiful sound. We can all create a beautiful sound if we're using our voices correctly. And clarify, we'll be working with consonants. And how does that affect everything? So that's day one. Day two, vibrate, flow, and transition. That's going to be about feeling vibration and sound going up and down, our pitch rising and lowering, the volume getting louder and softer. So that will all be about those transitions. And then the third session, the third day, will be talking a little bit about pitch and harmony, which I showed a bit of earlier, and singing some songs together. So we'll be taking all of the things that we practiced and putting them to use. The songs are the funnest part, of course, but the exercises, for me, the exercises have always been fun. And that's the foundation. You know, you need to learn these things and practice these things in the context of exercises. So they become completely natural. And when you're singing a song, you're not worrying about whether or not your mouth is open. You've practiced that so much that it becomes natural. So that's what the 3 day singing sessions will be like. I'm also going to do a 1 day toning, a 90-minute toning with singing bowls and with humming and with some visualization. And one of the offerings will be a private toning session or voice lesson.
Beautiful. Well, Linda, thank you so much for your special offering. This was a taste with Linda Lewellyn on how you can really release that soul voice and sing the voice of your soul. Linda, as we wrap up today, any final thoughts?
Just, you know, even everyone listening, even if you don't end up taking an offering from me, use your voice. You know, next time you feel nervous, just sit or stand there, take a really deep breath and hum. Let it be there for you. It's there, and you know, why not use it? I thought I might just do a little offering of a song, just a little improvisation with my bowl, this bowl, and I'll I'll set a intention for the song, just for all of us to love ourselves and love our voices and let them out.
A very beautiful voice, and thank you for sharing it. One thing I also want to mention is when you work with the consonants and the chamber, the resonant chamber of our face.
Yes.
As I was doing that with you and changing from the EO, I heard overtones, and
No,
that was
overtoning.
very, very cool. It really opens us up into wild experiences, and wow.
Yeah, overtoning is a wonderful thing too. It's for some it's pretty advanced,
Yeah.
but for some it's very simple. Yeah, overtoning is it gets some very metaphysical energy shifts going. That's an incredible thing, and the bowls do that a lot too.
Oh, yes.
Switching back and
Uh,
forth between oo and e is an easy way to start some overtoning.
Give us an example.
It just sounds to me, overtoning is my voice being part of the aurora borealis. It just sounds magical, and it feels like it is.
It's it sounds multidimensional
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there's other tones, and it's really quite amazing.
And that's resonance. That's just if you've practiced resonance for a while, then you can move into overtoning. Some people might spontaneously just do it with absolutely no experience too.
Amazing. I highly recommend lessons with Linda Lewellyn. And your example of the bowl and the toning is another beautiful way that people can incorporate their voice in a healing aspect for their clients and for the world. So when we walk around the world, I see a world where everyone's humming, skipping, and dancing.
Yeah, I see that too. I really do feel like that was where we came from, and we've gone through this period of time where many expressions are shut down, many artistic expressions. But I think we're coming back to it. I really do. I see that, and I see voice as a wonderful one of the wonderful modes of finding your self expression and loving yourself again. Or more deeply.
Loving
I
yourself.
agree. Let's try to make this culture and this society more loving, more vibratory, more healing, and voice is one great way to get there.
Thank you, Linda Llewellyn. I highly recommend, again, sessions with Linda if you really truly wish to explore your voice, free your voice, liberate your voice, own your voice, and the power behind it. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.